have a ministry for perpaduan, we still have to talk about we must be united. What is important is there is a continuous progress that we must achieve year after year, like what we can witness now. When the road is through to Kapit, you can see a lot more economic activities, information technology, to share what's beautiful of our culture.
Hello everyone, you are watching From Malaya to Malaysia podcast. This is a brand new special edition podcast by Sinar Daily, and this is specifically to celebrate the upcoming Independence Day and also Malaysia Day. And for today's episode, I feel very honored, very special with the guest that I have today. We actually have all the way in Sarawakian, our Works Minister, Datuk Seri Alexander Nanta Linggi. Hello Datuk Seri, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to our podcast, and I'm really excited to discuss a bit about history of Sarawak and the progress that he has made over the years, because clearly we have Malaysia Day that will be celebrated on 16th September. So that is what we're going to focus on today. And first off, I'm just going to ask, we are celebrating 60 years since the formation of Malaysia. That is 6 decades, Datuk Seri, since the Malaysian Agreement 1963. How does it feel for you personally?
How does it feel for me personally now? I'm rather confused.
Why is that?
Why? We should be very happy celebrating something that we have established 60 years ago, and we should be in a very happy situation as a nation. But do we feel so? You asked me personally, I said, not really. I think there's been too much of things that has been messed up. Yeah, I must be very frank, because I would expect more, and I would expect that Malaysia by now would not have to grapple with masih lagi tentang perpaduan. After 60 years, unity should be already something that is already there and taken for granted, if I may say so. And yet, we still have to have a ministry for perpaduan. We still have to talk about we must be united. So by now, we shouldn't be talking about that anymore. We should already be united, and we focus on other things. So I'm very frank. However, I don't lose hope. Yeah, because I think there's still a lot of rooms, things that we can improve to make sure that the nation is fully united. Even if not fully united, but at least will also be a situation which is much happier than from what it is actually today. And in that, I feel that I have a role to play in the cabinet or in the government or as a politician. I will not lose hope.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does the people of Sarawak feel the same way as you do?
I think generally they do, because you see, over there, I think it is widely known that we are very much in harmony. Yeah. And lately, Sarawak has been very openly regarded as the example state that we should be. And I take that with pride. And then also that we learned. And that's why when we look at the overall situation in the whole country, even more so now, that we know that we need to be united, we need to be in harmony. So it helped us actually, so that the government, the leaders, we can focus on something more important that is none other than to make sure that we develop properly as a country, as a state, and also we can focus on our economic progress, people's well-being, welfare of the rakyat, and many other things that we need to continue to work for and to make sure we achieve and deliver. That's most important. Yeah. And we are very focused in Sarawak.
And the fact that you mentioned the development, the economic progress, for the past 60 years, could you perhaps compare how is the infrastructure has changed since 60 years ago, maybe in terms of electricity, highways, internet, and also healthcare?
Definitely things have changed physically. And, well, as a background to that again, my late grandfather, Tun Jugah is a signatory to Malaysia Agreement. The elder at that time, the founding members of the generation at that time of Malaysia, why in Sarawak at that time we accept to be part of Malaysia, to form Malaysia, is because we were looking forward to all those that you asked me about. That is the progress, the development, the roads that we are building, the schools, the health facilities, and now, of course, telecommunications and all whatnot that are infrastructure that would be of a developed country. So that has always been the very reason that we agreed to be Malaysia. So now, 60 years on, yes, there has been much progress. Even though voices you can still hear that say, we have, but we're not enough.
Yeah.
I too feel the same way. That is why we always hear about members of parliament from Malaysia, from Sarawak, whether they're opposition or whether from the government, would say the same thing. They say, look, we need more roads, we need more educational facilities, we need more health facilities. It's not that we do not have, but we need more. Belum lengkap lagi, belum sempurna. Kita sudah ada. So that is what we continue to work for. And the progress in Sarawak, 60 years, a lot has been achieved. If you ask me, I say yes.
Okay.
If you ask some people, they may say no. But what is enough? What is important is there is a continuous progress that we must achieve year after year. One must develop Malaysia plan after Malaysia plan. So the budget after budget, so that we can see the progress. In those days, we have very few kilometers of roads covering a wide state, almost as big as Tanah Besar lah, sebenarnya. But now, we have Pen Borneo Highway. We're going to have the Sabah Sarawak Link Road. We're going to have the Trans Borneo. We're going to have a lot more Jalan Luar Bandar accessing the rural areas. For example, Kapit. It was made a political issue when, for almost 50 years after Malaysia, and my grandfather, our family come from Kapit, that what we had hoped for did not materialize for almost 50 years. But fortunately, finally, by the year 2012 and 2013, I was a deputy minister in the Rural Development Ministry. The road to link Kapit to the rest of the world, we like to say, because we were always thinking that we're like an island in an island, that the only access to Kapit before 2000, or before the road linking Kapit to Cebu actually completed, we have to rely on riverine transportation. We have a ferry boat from Cebu to Kapit. Took us about 3 hours. Before the faster one, it used to be about 9 hours, in the early days. So finally, work started in 2013, and finally completed just about 4 years ago. Now we can drive all the way from anywhere, any part of Sarawak to Cebu to Kapit, even further up from the Kapit town now. So that is an example. And there are many other areas where rural roads are being built.
Do you think it took too long to build?
The road to Kapit, a bit too long.
A bit too long.
We would have expected it to have been completed or actually resulted by, maybe 30 years after Merdeka, to be fair. But never mind, it's better late than never.
It's already there.
It's there now.
It's there. It's making life easier, much more convenient for the people there.
And the good thing about roads into the rural areas or anywhere else, it becomes a catalyst to other socio-economic activities. It's not just a question of getting from point A to point B or from town A, town B, But once we have a road through, like what we can witness now, when the road is through to Kapit, you can see a lot more economic activities alongside the road. And from the main road, than the spur road into the more remote areas. So that is a good thing about infrastructural development that's happening in Sarawak.
Earlier, you mentioned your late grandfather. To those who are listening and watching, if you don't know, Dr. Sri is actually the grandson to Tun Jugah Barieng. If you don't know, he is a prominent figure in Malaysia, especially during the Federation of Malaysia. I'm pretty sure every single year people will be calling you, hey, Dr. Sri, could you tell us a little bit about your late grandfather every single year? And I want to ask you, I want to know, is it a pleasure for you that he is your grandfather?
No, I don't think it's a pressure of any sort in negative form. I think it's rather positive, and I'm happy that I'm his grandson. And well, as you mentioned, that he played a big role in the formation of Malaysia. He's a signatory to the Malaysian Agreement, representing Sarawak as well, especially the Dayak community of Sarawak. And with his background, I must admit that politics has been easier for me at my constituency, especially, and also maybe in Sarawak. And I like to think that I would always want to make good use of that. And with his name, that I have this, if you say pressure, maybe, that I tell myself all the time that I must act up properly.
Okay. Okay. Probably a lot of people ask you the same question that I'm about to ask, but we also want to know, is there any historical stories that perhaps your late grandfather shared with you that the public doesn't know?
Oh, I think something of significance. I don't think public would not know. Yeah, most of it is known to the public, unless it's a very personal thing with him and I. I don't think I have to share here. But something of significance. When I asked him, I was young, and later on, said, why was he such in the forefront in the so-called process to form Malaysia? Of course, being a community leader or Dayak community at that time, he inevitably he'll be involved. But I said, I remember that he said to me that we formed Malaysia because we're already part of the British colony. Malaya, Singapore, Sabah, and Sarawak. I mean, that's a fact anyway, factual. So it's already under one common government or colony master, if you like. And at that time, our neighbor wasn't too friendly. Yeah?
Okay.
And so I think his concern was the security of Sarawak, at that time. So he had to make sure that the Sarawak would not be overrun by unfriendly neighbor at that time. So it is only natural to be part of the new nation that is already having common master, the British at the time. Yeah. So I think that is nothing rocket science thinking. Is very, very logical, and that's it.
Yeah.
My grandfather had been someone like that, practical in his approach, and he's down to earth. So I think that made it convince him that he has to work together with Malaya and with Sabah and of course Singapore, and he was close to the British officers at that time. Yeah. So
you got to
they must have also guided him.
So you got to witness the whole thing, and I'm pretty sure his traits really made you more patriotic than you are way before this, since you were younger, seeing him fighting for the rights of your people.
Right. That is why maybe because I'm his grandson, that however messy the situation is now, I'm very straightforward too. I still harbor hopes that things should get better. Yeah? Maybe had I not been his grandson, then I would say, what the heck about what's happening now? But no, I feel very, very responsible
Yeah.
to make sure that we must strive to do what we have to do to make sure Malaysia is a harmonious nation. People are united and we progress properly. It's a bit let down, too much politicking, especially over here in Semenanjung. But that also teaches us in Sarawak not to do the same. And we are very happy that we have a very good premier, Datuk Tinggi Abang Johari.
How do you plan to continue his legacy and your plans forward for the people of Sarawak and also Malaysia?
Well, I mean, I just have to work hard where I'm put. Now I'm a member of cabinet and put into helm a very important ministry. I just tell myself every day, I remind myself all the time that I have to dedicate myself, I have to do my best because a lot will depend on how I perform. Yeah. And then Works Ministry is indeed a very, very important ministry in terms of nation building. I mean, not just it's a pandai, but physically we are the implementers of infrastructural development, ports, hospitals, schools, airports, road networks, highways. Yeah.
All right. And when we speak about Sarawak, not only you guys have progress in terms of infrastructure, facilities, education, but not to forget, Sarawak is known for their culture. They're very unique. It's part of the Malaysia identity, I would say, for Sarawak's culture. So could you tell us the difference between the culture of people in Sarawak and also in Semenanjung?
I don't see a marked difference.
Okay.
I mean, we are very rich culturally in terms of arts and culture in Semenanjung, just like in Sabah, as well in Sarawak. Yeah? So when we put all the various ethnic, customs and cultures and arts together, that's it. That's Malaysia.
Okay.
Where each and every ethnic group will contribute to what should be known as a Malaysian culture, Malaysian arts. Yeah? So we're very rich over here. Different states in Semenanjung have their own
identity. Yes.
Yeah. Well, in Sarawak, even the different ethnic group also have their peculiarities. Same thing in Sabah. And when you fit all this together, and I always enjoy a show, whether here in Semenanjung or in Sarawak or in Sabah, when cultural dances perform, and it really make you feel that we are all into one. I hope we can really translate that, not just in terms of performing arts, but into the way we live as Malaysians, our political culture, back to the same thing. And if we can show as much as we show on stage, and we do it in life, I think Malaysia will be a beautiful place.
I agree. That's true. I want to ask, do you know any of the dance movements, maybe any of the unique dances that Sarawak has?
I can do the ngajat just to survive, not be embarrassed.
Just to survive,
but
okay, good.
I would not say that I can do it well.
Okay, cool, that's cool. And when we speak about Sarawak, there are a lot of ethnic groups, Iban, Chinese, Malay, Bidayo, Orang Ulu, and Malanau, surely among many others, right? So how do you think the similarities and differences of each group made Sarawak what it is today? Because sometimes I feel like maybe perhaps people in Semenanjung are not as familiar as how the difference they are from one another.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Sarawak itself comprises about, officially I heard it's about 24 ethnic groups. But actually, if we really go further and look further, there's even more than that. And each and every one have their peculiarities in terms of their cultural dances, cultural performance, oral traditions, and things like that. And same thing here in Semenanjung, as I said earlier on. So it is a very conscious effort, if you like, by the government in Sarawak or the agencies under the government, under the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and Arts, that we try as much as possible to include each and every one of the small ethnic group, the cultural performance and cultural heritage, to be part of the entire Sarawak's cultural heritage. Yeah, we always try to give a slot for each and every one. But I must say, I'm impressed also, and I like it. Here in Semenanjung, there is a good effort being made to make sure that Sarawak, Sabah are not excluded.
Yeah.
In the whole of Malaysia's what do you call that, programs or performance, so I've been to quite many events here, and I saw that there is a concerted effort and a conscious effort and affirmative effort to make sure Sarawak's here in Sabahans are also included. Now that's good.
Okay, that's good. And the fact that personally, I have not been to Sarawak yet. I haven't gotten the opportunity. And when we talk about Malaysia, it's all about food. Food. Everywhere you go, everyone always says, "Oh, Malaysia has the best food. Malaysia has the best food." So if I had the opportunity to go to Sarawak, Datuk Seri, what are the top 3 things I must try? Or anyone, for that matter, if we ever go to Sarawak?
Well, I feel sorry that you never been to Sarawak. You must already by now should have visited at least a couple of times to Sarawak and Sabah.
Yeah.
So,
I've been to Sabah, but unfortunately, not yet.
have you anything against Sarawak?
No,
Sarawak?
nothing. Since I haven't gotten the opportunity yet. So
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you, what
Back
should
to
I
your
try?
questions, I think what would be the food that be
Top 3.
identified with Sarawak and for the diet, we have this chicken cooked in the bamboo we call panso.
Panso.
They are very, very tasty.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, chicken cut up and then instead of cooked using the normal pots and hands, they are put into bamboo and then put over the fire, and very tasty. Yeah. And then apart from that, there are many others. For the Malaya community, we have umai. Umai is basically, it's just like Japanese raw fish and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you eat it with?
You eat it with the lime, yeah, and then this fish is being cut into small pieces, and then with onions. Yeah, it's just like that.
One more.
Very tasty. Yeah. And of course, for the Chinese in Sarawak, what you hear always is they have the kolomi.
Yes,
I mean,
kolomi.
it's quite plain noodles, but still cooked becomes tasty. And for our maybe the Malay community, of course, we have the cake lapis, well known.
Laksa Sarawak.
Laksa Sarawak.
Laksa Sarawak. I've tried the food, but I just never been to this yet. Yeah. Okay, and apart from food, if I go there, I could visit a lot of things. And I've seen that Sarawak has one of the biggest caves in the world. The Deer Cave is the largest cave passage in the world. That says a lot, and it's just amazing. So, have you been there, Datuk Seri?
Yeah, I've been there twice.
Oh, you've been there twice. So, how is it like?
Well, as you said, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a wonder.
Is there anything that they do trying to preserve the archaeology there? Because I know it's like a tourist attraction to whenever people visit Sarawak.
Yeah, I'm told it's to the. I mean, the people were interested in caves.
Yeah.
It's just tremendous. There's so much. It's a well of what do you call that? Information and also environment issues. I mean, that you can learn and also can experience in the cave. So that's why it's considered one of the wonders of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very beautiful. I've seen the videos and the pictures there. And okay, now moving on to still on the culture, but I want to focus on the exposure of social media and television. So nowadays we have Netflix, we have Disney Plus, we have HBO Max, so many television streams to watch movies and TV series. which are mostly are from the West, and that would clearly affect the culture, perhaps the language, and for future generations, right, Datuk Sri? So surely Sarawakians are now different than how they were 20 years ago, given the exposure that they have now on social media, on the internet, from the West. So from the West countries. So
I think if you're talking about people impacted or influenced by the social media, by information technology, it's not just Sarawakian. In fact, the whole world. In fact, the whole world is impacted and influenced by technology, including its Semenanjung. So,
do you think it would affect the Sarawak heritage in the future if they?
I think information technology will affect everywhere and every culture. Yeah.
Is that worrying?
If you talk about to Sarawak, is it worrying? Depends on from which angle. Yes, if you talk about through social media, the negatives will impact it. Yes, of course, because then people, maybe because of the information technology, they are exposed to a lot of other things that is damaging to our culture. But I like to think also the other way, that we should also use the social media and should also use the information technology to share what's beautiful of our culture. So how do we do that? That is why to disseminate information correctly and the good information, that is why Sarawak, just a few years ago only, set up the TV Sarawak. Why did we do that? Because we realized that we are over-dependent on the source of information that's actually controlled by others. So when we have TV Sarawak, I am told, and I do know, and I observe that in TV Sarawak, we don't just carry berita or news. It is filled with so many other programs. There's documentaries, So then also cultures, oral traditions being telecast, or rather be carried in the TV programs through TVS. So we are enhancing and taking full advantage of the social media. And also the information technologies like TV shows to the best to benefit us. Of course, if we talk about social media through WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and a lot of people, it's a bad thing to spread lies, to spread fake news, especially with the purpose to run down other people or to also just to cause problems. That kind of threat is happening to everyone, to everywhere. But we will try to counter that by a lot of advocacy to the rakyat. That's why we educate them through our programs. And then, this is not just happening in Sarawak. I'm sure it should happen throughout Malaysia as well.
Okay, and earlier you mentioned that unfortunately the state of our political situation in the country is not where you expected it to be. You sound very disappointed as how it is right now, and I'm afraid that's not the only thing that our country is suffering from. That we are also experiencing brain drain, whereby the students, the youth, the future generations are migrating to another country to find better opportunities, furthering their studies, and not coming back here. May I ask, how have the educational facilities have progressed in Sarawak over the years?
Oh, okay. If you realize, or maybe you don't realize it, that's why the leadership in Sarawak, led by none other than Ahmad Rahmat, the Premier, to the Tasya Manjari himself, the entire cabinet and the whole government, we are very focused on how we think Sarawak should move on. Sarawak have a definite agenda. Agenda is to progress Sarawak, to develop Sarawak. And how do we do that? What do we need to ensure we have the resource development? None other than knowledge. Yeah, education, schools is very important so that people are knowledgeable. That is why it's not that we are unpatriotic when we say we put importance to English language. It doesn't mean we are less patriotic.
We're not neglecting our...
We're not neglecting Bahasa. It is Bahasa, our national language. But we also, the state government also stress on the importance of English. And we use English officially as a second official language. And more than that, the state government have announced that they're going to build 5 international schools. Yeah? Why do we need to do all this? Because our leaders fully understand that for us to really embark into the development program, the modern technologies, how can we not have a good command of English language? How can we not have good international standards?
Have the skills. You need to have the skill.
And we need to have skills. We need to have people who are highly skilled, the vocational training. And we cannot do without English language. Computers, internet, we need to have a good command of English language. And because your question asked me, how do we...
Towards the education
system.
Yeah.
So we are very focused. That is why in our education system, we are putting emphasis on English language. Because that is not just a language, but it is a technology language. It is a universal language for all other things, especially for science and technology.
If you want to go above and beyond to progress, you need to get a good command of English.
And putting emphasis on the use of English language, nothing about patriotism.
Yes. It's just about learning a new skill.
That's right.
Right? It's not that we're neglecting Bahasa Melayu.
So, Sarawak government is putting a very, very important to education in the state.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that. And now, just before we end the podcast, I have a few more questions for you. What can the federal government do better to uphold the promises laid out in the 1963 agreement for you?
Well, the promises is simple in those days, In those days, compare Sarawak to Malaya. Sarawak is very, very far behind in terms of infrastructural development. Now, as I said, over the years, we have some of the infrastructure development. Sudah ada tapi belum lengkap. So we have, but we still need more. So what do we expect? We expect the federal government to continue to provide funding, to provide space, and to provide whatever we need for us to progress. Now it's no longer just about money. Of course, money can pay for so many things. Now, governance, the laws that we have, let me explain why. Okay, now there's an issue of carbon trading. Sarawak is vastly still covered with green. The forest. There's a potential for carbon trading, large potential for Sarawak, green technology for Sarawak. And Sarawak wants to monetize those that we have. But there are issues of the governance not in place. The proper laws are not, the national laws are not in place. When you're going to do carbon trading, the issue of carbon tax, it is not confined to this laws, governance from Sarawak. We need a national laws that enable us to fully exploit the potentials of Sarawak in terms of green technology, carbon trading, and other sources of energy. Now we talk about hydrogen, we talk about algae as a source of them. Now, for us to be able to fully exploit the potentials of all those, we need the national laws to enable us. Yeah, if we want to export our green energy, we cannot just do it without the national laws in place. So when you ask me what do the federal government need to do, it's not just about giving us the money to build the road and build other things, but you also should facilitate in terms of putting in the right laws, the right governance and rules and regulation at the national level for us to enable us to exploit fully what we have.
Because you can't really enforce national laws if you don't have good governance, right? Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that you hope for Sarawak. But is there any other things before we end the podcast today? What are your other hopes and wish for Malaysia? Because I know you said earlier that you expected more. You have high.
Well, I hope we should lessen the politicking, concentrate on nation building. 60 years, we're still talking about nation building. Well, if we have to do it, we have to do it. What to do? Concentrate on the, progressing our economy. Because ultimately, if we do well in managing our economy, we grow our economy, it would mean what? It will mean we are taking good care of the welfare, well-being of our people. Yeah. But if our economy is in a mess because we are over-politicking, we quarrel over something that actually remeh lah.
Yes.
But to me, remeh maybe to those people they are very important. I don't know Asian.
But there are other priorities that we could focus on.
I said the priority should be the rakyat, should be the nation, should be the well-being of the nation and the people. And we cannot do that unless we are united, unless we quarrel less.
Yeah, I agree. Because that is all you see in the news now. You all quarrel with each other and you don't see anything else.
Good thing was Sarawak. We see a lot of quarrel here, so we don't quarrel over there.
So you don't quarrel. Is it more, are you saying it's more peaceful there?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
In fact, I joke, but I do mean it.
Yeah.
I say if Sarawak's economy is so good, yeah, and the national economy is not doing well, perhaps one day Sarawak may want to have our own currency. Yeah. Why should we get bogged down?
Okay.
If we have good...
Is it possible?
I don't know. I mean, I hope people are not saying that I'm a traitor to the country. No. But I'm talking about seriously. If we are so good in developing our economy, and if we are wealthy enough, yeah, and by calculation, our economy should be strong. Recently, it was announced that, that we have actually come into the higher income economy. But I know that is per capita, but people are still poor somewhere. People may argue with me. Yeah. But assuming that is also what is by the World Bank, yeah, why not? It's like you're doing a family of, let's say, 5 children. Yeah. If the 4 children quarrel, don't work hard, and they get bogged down.
Yeah.
But one child, whether it's a son or a girl, is clever enough to say, look, I don't want to get bogged down in all those.
I want to do better.
I want to take care of myself.
Better, yeah.
And it earned a lot.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he or she be allowed to say, hey, look, you're the smarter one, you work hard, you are wise, you don't want to get bogged down and all those things. Hey, I'm very much better than my other sibling. So Sarawak, if our economy is so good, I tell you personally, I would think that we should decouple and say, look, I have a Sarawak dollar 1-to-1 with Brunei, $1-to-1 with Singapore.
Perhaps, I don't know, maybe you don't know.
Maybe some people may not like what I say, but I'm trying to emphasize a point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to emphasize a point.
Do you think Sarawak people would be happy to hear you say that?
I don't think anybody would disagree with me.
Okay, thank you so much, Datuk Seri. There you have it. The first episode of From Malaya to Malaysian podcast. where we have Works Minister, Datuk Sri Alexander Nanta Linggi. Thank you so much for coming to our podcast. And I hope you guys enjoy the From Malaya to Malaysia podcast. We hope you would subscribe for future episodes on our Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and also our social media accounts to get the latest updates and the latest episode on our podcast, exclusive interviews. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Atira Aminuddin. See you guys next time. You've just watched From Malaya to Malaysia's 60 Years podcast special, a campaign collaboration between Sinar Daily, Bual Studio and Reka Sounds. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and make sure to follow and subscribe Sinar Daily's social media platform, Sinar Daily MY, for more. I'm Atira Aminuddin. Thank you for watching.